We discussed this with the journalist Steph Braun, who supports the introduction of buffer zones, and Hannah McNicol from the campaign group Compassion Scotland, which opposes the idea. Steph, why do you want buffer zones to be introduced?
Well, John, I think it's really about, protecting women who are going for abortions. I think that it's a big decision for these women to make, to have an abortion. It's always, a pretty difficult decision, I think, for most people. And I think that, they want to be able to go and have that procedure in peace and, not have to worry about being harassed or pestered in any way, or, they just want to be able to, go to the clinic and just, get things done and go through with it, really.
And Hannah, why should people be allowed to protest or stage vigils outside these abortion clinics?
So our main belief at Compassion Scotland is that compassion isn't criminal. And in fact, the people offering help outside abortion clinics are often women who have had abortions themselves, older women who have had abortions themselves. And it's a safeguard against reproductive coercion. We know a BBC study said that 15% of women told them that they'd experienced pressure to terminate a pregnancy when they didn't want to. So it's a safeguard against that happening, because there can be a lot of pain from that.
But you would accept, would you not, that people going to a clinic, it's a pressurised situation enough as it is, and to be met by people shouting at them or insulting them doesn't make it easy?
So we at Compassion Scotland obviously believe that harassment and intimidation is wrong. And as women ourselves, we obviously believe that's wrong. But we're grateful that our law already criminalises threatening or abusive behaviour. And if you're interested, it's the Criminal Justice and Licensing Act from 2010, and also the breach of the peace. So unfortunately, buffer zones would only kind of catch the people who are just trying to help. By offering help outside of abortion clinics. We obviously think that anyone harassing people or intimidating people should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
And Steph, the legislation, as Hannah says, is already there. Is this not an overreaction?
No, not at all. Because, I think if these protests were peaceful, we perhaps wouldn't have as much of a problem. But there's been, a number of issues outside the Sandyford Clinic in Glasgow, where there's been protesters who have been holding up signs that, are really, really quite, horrible for women who are having abortions to see, calling them sinners, even calling people helping to deliver the abortion sinners. These are really quite frightening things to see. So I think that, buffer zones, while I appreciate what Hannah is saying, I think that, there are some protesters who are going that step too far, some, far too far in terms of what they're doing. And it's really frightening people that are, going for abortions.
Hannah, this wouldn't ban the demonstrations. It would just move them further away and allow women who had a difficult decision to make to do that with some peace, would it not?
Well, I suppose another aspect of this issue is the kind of precedent it would send. It would mean that government can tell people where they can help and where they can't help. And for example, where people can pray and where they can't pray. And it would be punishable by up to 2 years in prison just for someone standing there. I think it's really important just to be against this legislation going through.
So you make the point, Steph, about the intimidation and the harassment, but what about the original point that Hannah was making, that some of the protesters are actually offering support and maybe a way out for some women?
Well, yeah, I appreciate that, some people might want to, help these women and offer a different choice. But I've spoken to people who have, been gone for abortions, and some people who have faced protesters before, and they get those options presented to them in the clinic. They will be told the risks, the benefits of what they're going for, the pros and cons. They will, then they're taken through that. So, I've been told by people who have, come past protesters that although some protesters might be trying to help, and that's what they say they're doing, they're actually not doing that. They're just causing more of a problem. For women who have often, they don't normally change their minds about what they're going to do. They've made their decision, they've thought it through, and all that protesters are doing is just, causing further mither and sometimes, really deep anxiety for these women.
And on that point, Hannah, most women going for these procedures will have thought about it very deeply. They'll have been through all sorts of agonies. Are they really likely to change their opinion at the final moment because somebody's standing outside with a placard?
Well, I think absolutely. Like I say, pro-lifers standing outside are the last safeguard available against reproductive coercion. You might have heard about the Be Here For Me campaign by Alina Dularu. She was booked for an abortion but didn't truly want it. And the only reason that she chose life for her baby was because people were outside of the abortion clinic offering life-affirming resources.
Should that, very finally and briefly, Steph, should that final influence not be there?
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't think so, because I think that, like I say, I think that final influence is in the clinic. I think that these people, these women who are going for an abortion, are the risks and benefits to what they're about to go through with, or what they want to go through with, are laid out to them in the clinic by health professionals. So I really think that that